Let's go ahead and keep the momentum going. It is my pleasure to introduce next Alexandra Legend Siegel. Now, quick heads up, Ali is Senior Vice President and Chief Equality and Engagement Officer at Salesforce. In her role, she is focused on unlocking engagement, opportunity, and innovation in the future of AI and agent technology. I'll invite Ali now to bring us all along into the Agentic future. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be here with all of you. I am really excited to talk to you all about the future of AI and agents because the future is really now. The whole world is changing around us, and I feel a heavy responsibility to make sure that you all and all of our communities have the skills, the opportunity, and the knowledge to succeed in this new world that we're living in. So first, let's see. First, I really want to introduce you to Salesforce. This is a company I love deeply. I was actually a founding member of our Office of Equality team, which really set out to make sure that we were creating equal opportunities for everyone, especially in the tech industry and when we think about how we use tech around the world. And this is a company that has been founded on core values: trust, customer success, innovation, equality, and sustainability, which I was so happy to hear the conversation about how we all have a responsibility to sustainability in this world. We also are a company that believes that business can be a powerful platform for change. So all of us, as we think about our roles, we all can influence change and create a better world for all. For us, that looks like the 1-1-1 model, which we've instituted from the very beginning and founding of our company. 1% of our equity, 1% of our time, and 1% of our products are committed to making sure that we're creating a better future for everyone. And we believe in doing well while doing good. So I'm really proud to say that we've been rated most innovative, most ethical, and a company that cares, while also being on the path to 40 billion. So that is pretty remarkable and why I stand here today. But let's talk about the digital labor era. So as I mentioned, the future is not in the distance, it's now. We are seeing the entire world change around us, the workplace is changing around us. As our CEO says, we are the last generation to lead a human-only workforce. That set in, it's not sci-fi, it's now. And what's remarkable is that generative AI is being adopted faster than technologies like the personal computer or the internet, which I find incredibly remarkable. So this is something that we not only need to pay attention to, we need to urgently make sure that we are helping the communities around us who don't have access to the information, to the technology, really understand their role in this future. And for all of us to bridge the fear divide. We know there are concerns. We know that bias exists in our society and it becomes reflected in our technologies. We know that ethics needs to be at the forefront, but that's where I think all of you really have a seat at the table with us. So let's talk about agents, because I know we talk a lot about AI, but agents, they're fundamentally changing the workforce. When you think about the workforce that's human only, it's fixed capacity. There's burnout. We're all doing tasks that we hate. I don't think any of us like doing expense reports or taking meeting notes afterwards, right? So there is an opportunity to allow us to automate the mundane so that we can focus on creativity and innovation. That's the exciting part. And when we think about agents, these are unlimited experts. I don't know how many of you use some sort of ChatGPT or Gemini. Okay, yes. I use it to plan trips. I use it to make grocery lists. I use it to draft emails. Just think about the time that we will begin to save and the limitless growth and capacity. So this is the positive. This is the opportunity ahead of us. So what are agents? I think it's really important that we ground ourselves in some definitions. So we know that AI, it's autonomous. It helps us. It's especially helpful when we think about knowledge sources. It's replacing the way that we search for information. But agents, that is AI that can actually reason and take action. So whether, let's think about our personal lives, you want to schedule a trip, and you're building an itinerary, that agent can actually schedule the trip for you, buy that plane ticket, purchase the hotel for you. So that's the difference between AI and agents. And agents are really changing the way that we think about how we interact with one another, how we interact with companies, how we interact with organizations. I sit on a board of a nonprofit that I'm very passionate about, Big Brother, Big Sister. I think about how this could revolutionize and help us to connect more children with mentors if we could have more agents taking action. So I know there's a lot of fear in the system, and fear is founded on reality. Yes, jobs will change. We know that. Just like any technology innovation we've seen, electricity, the computer, the internet, jobs will change. But it's really important that we remember this isn't about humans versus AI. As our chief scientist says, this is about AI and humans working together, leveraging our unique strengths. And so with that, there comes a skills gap. We know that the skills needed to succeed in this current era are different from the skills that we used to need. And if we look at this, 59% of the global workforce will need reskilling. So we need to focus on reskilling. That is one of our top priorities as a company and in my role. We also know that 39% of workers' core skills will change, and that 14% of today's jobs are expected to be created due to these new macroeconomic trends. So really interesting and something that we need to watch and take action on immediately. Okay, so let's talk about the skills. I think we often hear, and there's a lot of concern, I need to be more technical, I need to go to engineering school, I need to gain all the technical skills. Well, if you think about something like the iPhone, did anyone teach us how to use an iPhone? Did we go to school for an iPhone? No, it just became an extension of ourselves. The same we can expect for AI and agentic technology. What's really interesting is that the research points to it's actually the human skills that will be more important. So human skills like emotional intelligence, storytelling, adaptability, these are going to be really core because as the agents take on more of that knowledge depth, more of those mundane tasks, we have to really understand how we can leverage the agents. We have to change our mindsets so that we're more agile and adaptable because this is really a new way of thinking, a new way of working. And also how we tell stories. How do we now use data, use the information we're gaining to storytell and to influence with the agents doing what they do best. Now we know that there's power and potential when we make sure that we're creating AI and agentic technology that is truly for everyone. And we have to be honest about the gaps. The research really depresses me that there is a pretty prevalent gender gap when we look at the usage of generative AI. And we have to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table through this technology revolution. I think we can all think of a moment in history when technology shifted the world around us and certain groups didn't have a seat at that table. Now imagine if not only they had a seat at the table, but were at the helm of that table. We could truly not just mitigate some of the bias and harm, but we could solve some of the problems, some of these big problems that we're all here gathered to talk about at this gathering with different voices at the table, thinking about how we can use AI and agents in a very creative way. We also know that consumers, they want AI that is trusted, that is not biased, that centers ethics. So for us, we have an ethical and humane use team that really focuses on responsible AI techniques, but this is super important when we think about making sure that diverse voices are at the table. And then finally, accessibility. Some of the most innovative technologies that you and I use every single day, voice to text, which is amazing when you're driving home from work, for example, that was created because accessibility was centered. Those are accessibility needs that became solutions for all of us. So similar as we think about AI and this revolution with AI, there are so many ways that we can further this innovation by centering accessibility. So let's talk about values and let's talk about equality. So we truly believe that values drive value. When we think about the work that we have to do in the future, whether it's on climate change, technology, the economy, when we center values, we know that the outcomes are better for everyone. So for us, this looks like the first, bringing everyone along. That's why I'm here today, to make sure you all have some of the knowledge and insights into where this workforce is going, where the transformation is going with AI. Unlocking the power of business as a platform for change. I just love the opening talk because it really underscores that businesses play a critical role in defining and shaping the future. And then, of course, drive innovation with equality. Equality drives innovation. When we center equality, we create better technology for everyone. And then, of course, we believe these principles of creating equal opportunity, equal pay, and dignity for every person. All right, well, many of us lead organizations, and there has been found to be a deep link between employee engagement and inclusion and AI adoption. This is from our own employee base, where we saw that our employees were 58% more likely to be encouraged to innovate with AI when they felt more engaged and included. So it goes hand in hand. People are at the center of this transformation. This is a people revolution. And so how do you start to think about this in your own workplace? I know it can feel overwhelming. It can feel daunting. Well, here are a few things that you can do. Think about learning as a meta skill. The people that are going to succeed in this new world, they're going to be constant learners. They're going to be curious. They're going to experiment with prompting. They're going to experience across all the different AI tools that there are to offer, not be afraid of those tools. And really using AI tools in the flow of work. The best way to bridge a fear gap, I've found, is to just start using it. It becomes less scary. You start using it, you see the power of it, you also see the limitations. There are things that AI and agents do really well, there are things that they don't. And the more that you experience that, the more you start to understand that. And that starts to build trust, and then continue to share the impact within your organizations. Encourage your employees, encourage your teams to share creative ways they're using AI and agents, whether in their personal life or at work, and that will inspire, one, the competition in everyone, because I know we're all a little bit competitive, but it will also inspire folks to try the technology in new ways. And I want to just talk to us about a framework that has been really helpful for us and our customers when we think about how do we really move through this people and technology transformation. And we call it the 4 Rs. So we don't gatekeep. We want to share it with all of you. We use it in our own workforce, and it really has a big impact. So the first is redesigning how work gets done. We're now in a space where we have agent coworkers and we have human coworkers. It's a little surreal. So how do we think about the work differently? Again, if our agents and AI are automating some of those mundane tasks, if they're doing what they do well, what does it look like? How do humans work alongside those agents? Reskilling our people. We have an obligation to make sure that our people understand the skills needed and have access to the information and the learning to be successful during this time. Redeploy talent to unlock agility. As we mentioned, yes, of course, jobs will change. I know change gives people a lot of anxiety, but we all have incredible transferable skills. And if we really look at the skills that we have, how do we help folks see themselves in the roles that we need tomorrow or even today? Because there will be new roles and new opportunity. And we believe that there will be net positive and net more opportunities with AI and agents. And then rebalancing the work. How do you make sure you understand the workforce and how our agents are working together with humans, making sure we're tracking, making sure we know when to take an agent offline, if it's not following the right protocols. All of that is an important part of this framework. And there's actually a playbook if you scan that QR code. It's really helpful. It goes into definitions, goes into examples of how we've done this in the workplace, resources that you can access. So I'll just give you a second to take a picture of that. You can also send it around after. All right, and then finally, I wanted to share something that I'm really proud of. When we think about our 1-1-1 model, it's really about this idea that we have a responsibility to give back. So we do have this Salesforce accelerator that is really incredible, especially for nonprofits. We know that it can be more difficult for nonprofits to get access and the capital needed to succeed in this new world with AI and agents. And so we dedicated 1% of grant funding, 1% of Agentforce product, Agentforce is our product, and pro bono expertise to help nonprofits really start to accelerate into this agentic era, because we believe that this will help them help the people that they serve. Finally, we can all start to be on our own learning journey. We can learn new tricks. We all can get better at AI and agents. So at Salesforce, we have this incredible self-learning platform called Trailhead. It's free. You can go on Trailhead today, again, through that QR code. And we also gamify it, because again, we know that leaders are competitive. We know that it helps us just to engage in the content. And so we have different levels: champion, innovator, legend. I'm working on legend so I can live up to my middle name, but I am an innovator right now. But it's a really helpful way to get your hands on the technology, to learn about how the technology is changing, to read about real use cases, and then actually start to go into the demo environment. And I will tell you, I thought you had to have an engineering degree to do it. You actually don't. And that really unlocks a different level of capacity, because if we start to truly understand and, again, center those different perspectives in the way that we start to think about agents and AI and how it's used, I truly believe that we can solve some of the biggest equality gaps, and we can really make sure we're designing technology that is for everyone. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Ali. Dare I say that presentation was legendary. Appreciate you. Thank you for giving us a preview of what's to come and how we can be prepared for it while not leaving anyone behind.